Hey people, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and stick around for this one. We're going to be analyzing an incident that took place in Argentina, the province of Tucumán, just a few days ago, in which this man is attacked by a couple of criminals on a motorcycle. Before I go on with this video, as always, when we analyze videos like these, always keep in mind we're not judging anyone here. It's always easy to call the shots from the comfort of your home when just watching a screen and not being there in the middle of the night shooting it out with criminals. We're just looking at things that could have been done better, some of the things that worked, some of the things that didn't, and trying to learn from that, trying to learn from other people's experience. When you see these things repeating one video after the other, you form an idea of what works and what doesn't. One more thing, remember that even though in the channel we talk about firearms, knives, tools for self-defense, it is always the fight you avoid that is always the best outcome. This is something I insist on a lot in my latest book, Street Survival Skills. This is the kind of thing it's easier to write about than just talk in videos, but I insist a lot on prevention, on awareness, on having an actual strategy so as to avoid these kind of things. It's not going to be as entertaining. It's not going to be as much of a Hollywood movie material, but it's always by far the best outcome, the fight you avoid entirely in the first place rather than the fight you survive, maybe sometimes even barely so. So let's watch it, 30 seconds. This is a man walking back home. He's a street vendor and he's attacked by these two criminals in a motorcycle. Let's watch it first and then comment on what we see here. So he's walking, there's two people there on a motorcycle, point a gun at him, give me your wallet, whatever. He brings out a gun, starts pointing a gun at them. The accomplice, the girl that you see there, walks away, and he starts walking towards the guy, and that's where the shooting starts, and that's basically it. He starts shooting, moving around a little bit, and that's that. So, a few things here. First of all, as we're saying, avoid finding yourself walking back home in the middle of the night in dangerous parts of the world. Sometimes that cannot be avoided because maybe this man just has to walk. Maybe this man has no car. He just got home, riding a bus or whatever, and he has to walk a couple blocks. So maybe it's not something that he could avoid. Now, if you can avoid it, try avoiding doing this sort of thing. Try avoiding putting yourself in potentially dangerous situations. Sometimes that's not possible, especially in some parts of the world, such as certain areas in places like Argentina. Some people just live in these places and they have no other choice. Still, awareness, he's not very much aware because he barely notices, even up to a point where they're just right on top of him. One more thing, when you're walking, don't do this. Don't walk down the middle of the street. Sometimes people do that. You have the sidewalk here, use the sidewalk. You have the curb, you have a little bit of grass. All of that may not seem like much of a big deal, but that's barriers that makes things more difficult for the attacker. If you notice, he just rises up to him just like that without any inconvenience. If he hadn't been there, he would have had to go over the curb. Grass may seem silly, but sometimes these guys in the motorcycle, when they're nervous and approaching a target like that, sometimes they fall. Sometimes they trip. All of those things could happen. In either case, this is just more of a barrier than just hanging there like served for him to pick. He could even go around the corner, and he would have maybe a bit more of something blocking the attack from these people. One more thing, you see a motorcycle, you see two people in a motorcycle, that's usually not good. There's a statistic, like half of the people you find driving two people in a motorcycle in Buenos Aires, the capital, they're criminals. Like half of them or even more. So whenever you see two guys in a motorcycle, be suspicious. Not only that, it's not just two guys. In this case, it's a guy and a girl, and you see her with long hair, pink dress. This looks like a happy couple going out for a ride on a motorcycle. So keep that in mind. Even if you see a woman, even if you see a young girl, it doesn't mean that she's not a criminal. These two are accomplices. No matter what they do on their own time, these two are accomplices in this crime, right? So Don't be fooled by, seeing a female, seeing a girl. It may just well be what's happening here. And he has, at this point, he's been caught completely by surprise. He was not aware of what was happening. Maybe walking back home, just thinking about whatever during the day, and he finds himself with a gun shoved to his face. At this point, the gun is being pointed at his face. So, at this moment, you have to make a few decisions. If you had planned for this sort of thing, maybe you have some plan ahead of time. Maybe you have a decoy wallet. As we talked in previous videos, having a wallet with a few bills there and a few cards that are not used or fake cards or whatever, and you just give up that fake wallet. Maybe you even have a fake cell phone in your jacket or in one of your pockets. So you have a cell phone that you're not using anymore, some old phone that we all have, like a drawer with a couple older phones that maybe you don't sell or whatever. Maybe it's even broken. Doesn't matter. You get a gun pointed at your face. Maybe your plan is, here you go, good sir, have a good day. You have my wallet, you have my cell phone, take off with that. And maybe that's something you plan ahead of time, and that is perfect. That is a great outcome for you. Maybe you just give up your actual phone and your actual wallet because you didn't plan for that, but you're facing a gun and you realize, okay, yeah, I'd rather lose a cell phone and a gun than rather just risk getting shot or getting myself in this mess. That's not what he does. So what he does is bring out his own gun. He brings out a gun, he's carrying it there like shoved in the Mexican carry. I don't even think he's having a holster or anything. He just brings out a gun and points it at the criminal. Now, this is where things, escalate definitely or get a bit more complex, or you have even less options at this point. One of the things you see is that the girl, she's getting out of there. As soon as she sees that the guy has a gun, she just gets out. Probably the plan all along was just point the gun at the old man, get the wallet, take off, and that was that. Now, the victim all of a sudden has a gun, and that's not going along as planned. So she just walks out of the motorcycle and says, okay, I'm getting out of here. She's walking away. Now, what we see here is also that this man has no firearms training. That's something we insist a lot here in the channel. I insist a lot on this because I know how important it is. At this point, especially, at this point when he's where he's forced, when he decided, and the only one that can decide this is you. At this moment, when you have someone pointing a gun at you, it is on you to decide what to do. If I'm giving away my wallet, my cell phone, I stay cool heads, give you my wallet, my cell phone, that's it, you take off. Now, the only one that can judge what to do is this man at that moment in his life. Because if I see that the guy is nervous, that the guy may in fact still shoot me, even if I give him my phone and my wallet, I may decide to just defend myself and not give a wallet or a cell phone, because I'm sure that even doing that will not save me. Only you can judge that in that second. The face of your attacker, how nervous he is, how much he's pointing the gun at you or not, or how much it's shaking, how steady, how cool you see his eyes, how much of a professional, let's put it that way, he seems to be, if he's cool or not, if he's high on drugs. All of those things you will have to decide in that split second. Now, someone that has training and you decide to go for it, you just draw and you start shooting, because you don't have much of a choice here. He's pointing a gun at you and you've decided that he's still going to be killing you. So you do that. You may try to create a distraction of some sort, but you go for it and you stick to your decision. He doesn't do that. He just brings a gun out and points it at him. And the girl takes off, and the criminal is not even sure himself. He's surprised, definitely, by his victim bringing out a gun. But instead of shooting right away, look what he does. He starts moving backwards, moving away. Okay, crazy old man with a gun, this is not going my way. This is not what I planned for. I just planned on getting a wallet and going out with my girlfriend and having a good time. Now this guy is coming at me with a gun. But notice this. He's moving towards the threat. Never do that. There's no point in that. What is it that you're going to be accomplishing with that? He's just angry. He's just letting his emotions get the best of him. He keeps advancing while he keeps moving backwards with the gun. Never do that. If you are lucky enough to be alive at this point, take a hike. Get in this direction. If you move towards this direction, then he may consider that he may end up shooting this person, which he may or may not care for, but that's a good bet. She may have a weapon herself, so keep that in mind. Maybe she has a knife and attacks the old man. Maybe she shoots him in the back. Either way, probably instead of doing this, maybe the best thing to do here would have been to move towards here. Putting her in the line of fire, maybe taking off in the other direction. He doesn't seem certain about shooting or not, so maybe leaving and he just goes looking for an easier victim, an easier target. That may well be the best. The best cover is in this direction, but she's here, so that's gonna be a judgment call of that moment. If she has a knife, if she has a weapon, if she seems to have one, those are all things. But the last thing you want to be doing is what he does. He moves towards the threat. He's angry, he's pissed, he's probably been robbed many times, and that's why he's carrying a gun, guys. That's why he's upset and he's insulting the guy, and you bastard, robbing me, I'm working all day long. He keeps moving and moving and he points a gun. This man has no training, but he's pissed. And then it's when the shooting starts. So he shoots like a few times. He gets shot as well. And as long as I know, this 74-year-old man, he moves back and forth and such. And we see him there. And that's it. According to the news, he ends up dying because of his wounds. The burglar, the criminal, also gets shot and ends up in a hospital where he was caught when he went to the hospital with gunshot wounds. So he was obviously wounded, but this man right here, he died because of his wounds. So guys, this is basically it. Get training. Remember that the gun is your last line of defense, not your first one, and have a plan. Have an idea of what I'm going to be doing if I get attacked when walking back home, when driving back home. What do I do if I get a gun shoved in my face and I'm caught with my pants down when getting out of my car, when getting back from work? All of these things are the kind of things you have to role play and prepare for as best as you can. Folks, that's all for now. See you in our next video. Have an awesome day. Take care.